One of the most popular Bible verses quoted by millions of Christians today, probably you too, is Jeremiah 29 verse 11. But does it apply to you today, and should you be quoting it? First, let's read it, and then I'll show you today why you shouldn't keep quoting this verse, but then why you should keep expecting what God says in the verse for yourself, and how this verse has a powerful application for you today. I know that might be confusing, but by the end of the video, you will have clarity and confidence and have a deeper appreciation for this verse, trust me. Let's read it. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord. Thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. This verse is so powerful, and it's no surprise many Christians love quoting it, wearing t-shirts with this verse on it, and even praying this verse over themselves. But there are several reasons why as a Christian you should stop quoting this verse. First and foremost, by quoting this verse about yourself is totally removing the verse from its original context, and context matters. It matters a lot. God is speaking in this verse and saying he knows the thoughts he has for you. That you, when you read through Jeremiah 29 though, is not me and it's not you. Don't shoot the messenger. It's actually God speaking to the nation of Israel, who were now enslaved by the Babylonians. So imagine, for example, I said something to you today. I promised I would give you something special. But next week you hear one of your friends saying, you will never guess what Israel told me last week. He told me he was going to give me something special. You would think they are crazy, right? But here's where it gets interesting. A few months ago, thinking about actually making this video, something happened, which is why you get to watch everything from here on out in the rest of the video, because this was not part of my original plan. I planned to break down several reasons why you should stop quoting this verse and be done. But then I started thinking again about what the verse says. Yes, this was referring to Israel. This was while they were captives in a foreign country, yes, but this was the same God that you and I serve today saying this, right? And I thought about the three things God is saying the Israelites should know. Let's go through them one by one. Firstly, God says he knows the thoughts he thinks towards you. Now I ask myself the question, what thoughts does God think toward me as his child? God thinks loving things about his children. Things that move us closer to him, not further away from him, right? God continues and says he has thoughts of peace toward Israel. But does God think thoughts of peace toward me today? The answer is a clear yes. God repeatedly desires his children to have and seek peace in all situations in life. And this is what makes Jeremiah 29 verse 11 so powerful. But before I break that down, let's look at one example from God desiring peace for you. I won't take this time to break down one of my favorite verses to meditate on, where Paul says we should live with the peace that surpasses all understanding in Philippians chapter 4. But I'll leave below a video showing you that's a key verse for you to overcome your anxiety. But let's look at Romans chapter 8 verses 5 to 6. It says, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, they mind the things of the spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. So God's thoughts for you today as a Christian are for you to walk in the Spirit of God and experience life and peace, regardless of what's happening. The next thing God said in Jeremiah 29 verse 11 is his desire is not for thoughts of evil for Israel. And just like before, I asked myself, does God have thoughts of evil towards me as his child? God may allow you to go through some evil. He may allow you to suffer at times in this life, but his thoughts towards us as his children are always of good, not of evil. So even if you think about someone like Job in the Bible, God allowed evil to befall Job, but it was for his greater good to be realized physically and spiritually later on in his life. And considering I quoted Romans chapter 8 previously, I'll do so again now, where verse 28 says, we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to purpose. So regardless of what is happening, if you are a child of God, live your life as if everything that's happening to you is ultimately for your good. This will totally transform your outlook on life, trust me. The key though is to be walking a spirit-filled life. And this leads us nicely into the other thing God said to Israel in Jeremiah 29 verse 11. God wanted them to know his thoughts for them were for an expected end, a future and a hope. So again, I ask myself this question, does God desire me to have a future and an expected end as his child? And the answer is yes, he does. If all things are working together for your good as a child of God who loves him, There is an expected end he has for all his children, including you. There is a finish line for you to cross. Just like Jesus could say, "It is finished," as he completed his mission. Just as Paul could say, he has finished his course. And just as Peter could say, soon his time to go was at hand. There is an expected end the Lord has for you. And this is why Jeremiah 29 verse 11 is a powerful verse to think about. The Israelites were hearing this in a time of judgment. They were being punished for their sins. God said they would be captives for at least 70 years, but to keep faith that he would still turn things around for them, because at the time Israel were captive and false prophets were saying that it was going to be over soon. But God was not on board with that message. God had said they could have peace, but not how they were thinking. They thought peace would come from returning home, but God's peace would come through them receiving God's judgment, praying for the land of Babylon to be peaceful so they could also experience peace. Jeremiah 29 verse 5 to 7 says, "Build ye houses and dwell, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Take ye wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there and not diminished. And seek the peace of the city whither I have caused you to be carried away captives. And pray unto the Lord for it, for in the peace thereof shall ye have peace." So the false prophets walking in the flesh were leading the people away from God's peace. But if they obeyed God's word, they could marry and have children and thrive. And this is the key to unlocking God's peace, his goodness, and an expected end, even when being judged by God. It is by turning to him totally. And I want to encourage you today that even if right now you are in a terrible situation because of foolish decisions you have made, even if you have sinned, God still has thoughts of peace, good, and an expected end for you as his child. And the way that you receive this is by aligning yourself with him. I urge you to align with him more and more each day, because that is how you can have a peace that surpasses all understanding and rejoice in all situations, even if you are in prison, like Paul when writing Philippians. So peace, good, and an expected end should always be on your mind, but this doesn't mean things will always go well naturally. It doesn't mean things will always go your way. But what it does mean is, through all situations, trust God knows what's best for you, because what God says in Jeremiah 29 verse 12 to 13 makes so much more sense when you understand Israel was being judged at this point. It says, "Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And ye shall seek me and find, when ye shall search for me with all your heart." So this is why you should stop quoting Jeremiah 29 verse 11 for yourself, or why you should still expect the things God said then for yourself, and how this passage proves you can have God's peace in all situations in life, even the ones you want to run away from. If you like this video, click the like button and watch this video next. God bless.